Hi, everyone. We're here with defender Keegan Rosenberry. We'll start off with his general thoughts on the game tonight. Any questions?
Yeah, I think the message after the game from Robin was, we're in a much better place now, and we feel like we're disappointed with a tie against one of the best teams in the league, if not the best team in the league. And I think that was a sentiment for a lot of people in the locker room tonight. I think I come away feeling like we could have definitely generated more chances to feel more dangerous, to feel like we could have scored more, but we do keep a clean sheet at the end of the night, again, against one of the better teams in the league. So, there's a lot of positives to build on.
Keegan, congrats, 200th appearance in MLS. But when you're looking at this game, you guys limit one of the best attacking teams to 2 shots on goal. How would you rate the way that you guys played as a defensive unit if you're looking at that back 5?
Thank you, first of all. I feel like we built really well on last week in Austin. Another difficult place to play, very good team, very good attacking team. We felt like we limited them. I don't know the numbers exactly, but we felt like we limited them to very few golden scoring chances. And I think that's, we talked about a disappointing start to the year, and we talked about the only way to get out of it is to grind and to put the work in and to do the things that aren't easy, and that starts with keeping clean sheets. We can't lose games if we continue to do that. So I also think it's all 11 of us. It's from the front. It starts with the guys up top. We talk so much about dealing with, we call them pivots, or the guys that can get on the ball and turn and make the game. Sanchez tonight is such an important player for them, and our ability to limit the amount of time he has on the ball, the amount of times he can look forward and pick passes out to their most dangerous players and behind us. And so even such a small concept like that, that's the defending starts with the guys in the front, and I think they did a really good job, and total team clean sheet for sure.
Yeah, Keegan, you mentioned the total clean sheet. Obviously, some of their chances limited by their wingers in Rwanda, and I guess what was the kind of the key for the wingbacks and just keying in on their guys knowing they've scored 13 goals on the year?
Yeah, it's a difficult job. I actually felt personally there's a few too many times in the first half where we let them. It seems like that when you let a team, especially with dangerous wingers, get off a side, build speed, and get to the other side, similar things that we try to do, and it gives that opposite side winger so much time to run at a defender 1v1 or with a numbers deficit. It's very dangerous, and there's too many times when I either dove in or didn't keep it to that side or got played in behind or things like that, and didn't necessarily end in dangerous chances, but kind of those half chances that give teams momentum and can kind of feel like they're building something. But it's, like I said, it's difficult as wingbacks to, sometimes it's actually not us that are isolated with the wingers. It's those outside center backs that get pulled into spots that are really difficult. So Lala, Danny, even Max who are getting pulled out into wide spots. But again, it's just that total kind of, everybody kind of, we talk about doing 1.5 jobs, trying to cover for each other. And I thought the back 5 and even, you have Connor and Brian and guys in the middle getting pulled out to do a job as well. So total team effort, and they're good players. So it takes all of us to limit them for sure.
Keegan, you mentioned that defense starts at the front, but your midfield and your defense was really good tonight. What do you attribute that cohesiveness between you guys in this game? Because in the first half, you guys held Vela to 16 touches. That's pretty impressive.
I think for us as defenders, I think I think it's a really difficult job as a midfielder to kind of have your back to things and hear a lot of information from behind you and have to process that and still kind of make the right decisions in terms of cutting off passing lanes, marking people, getting in the right spots. When the ball goes side to side, shifting quickly and making the right decision as who to step to. And I think our guys in front of us, Connor and Brian, so many rotations happen, so it ends up being Max, it ends up being Diego at times tonight, or even Johnny when they rotate. Just their willingness to take on information and listen and hear things, and difficult at times, with language barriers and trying to navigate that. But just that willingness to be selfless and kind of do selfless running and get pressure to guys so they don't have time to face forward, like I talked about with Sanchez and guys like that, trying to limit the amount of time that they have on the ball to pick passes out and pick dangerous passes out.
It's another match here this season where the Rapids have defensively, set up with the 3 center backs and then the 2 wing backs and you and Sam. Is this looking like it's going to be the identity for the rest of the season? Do you feel comfortable playing in that wing back position instead of a back 4?
I don't know that it's quite our identity yet. I think since Robin has come here, we've done a really good job of being able to adapt between formations, especially depending on what the opposition presents. And I think oftentimes that depends on kind of how they press and what they show from the front and how we build out. Because a lot of our attacks, if we build out cleanly, that's how we get the ball going forward. That's how we get our most dangerous guys, time in the attacking third. And so I don't think it's necessarily our identity. I do feel like I'm comfortable there. Also, since Robin's been here, I've been fortunate or selected to play a variety of positions, and I'm happy that they have the confidence in me to do that. At times it's a challenge to learn and take on new roles and different nuances of positions, especially communication-wise with guys around you. But I do feel comfortable there. And I do feel like at times we're more comfortable. I think you saw that last week. Our staff brought up a pressure statistic, and we talked about being really aggressive pressing this year, and ironically we kind of drew our line a little bit deeper in terms of confrontation in Austin, but then we ended up having a lot more pressures in the opposing half that game. So I think in that formation we feel, a little more confident and a little more cohesive in terms of how we step together and how we get pressure to the opposing group.
Okay. So there's 2 separate plays tonight. One where you guys build out of the back against Diego and he swings that big diagonal pass and it leads to a pretty good opportunity. There's another one where you kind of are in the same spot and you try to play that diagonal ball and it just missed Sam. It's just behind him and goes out. And a couple weeks ago, Cole talked about how you guys just are a little bit slow, just a half a step slow. I mean, is that kind of what he's talking about? Is those kind of things where rather than that through ball connecting and creating transition chances, is that, have you guys kind of felt some of those moments, and what do you think it's going to take to kind of find that rhythm and connect on some of those balls and counter like you guys did a couple years ago?
Yeah, I think especially with a string of results like this, it's easy to kind of not nitpick, but find things that are just off. And especially, the hardest thing to do in the game is score goals. And we've clearly proven that this year. But I think there's no simple answer to how we solve that. But it is just being that little bit sharper in the attacking third. I feel like at times those balls that you're talking about are more kind of once we break the press and that next ball to get us into the attacking third to get us time on the opposite side of the field and to really attack from that. But I feel like in general we've done a decent job of that this year. I think it's once we get into the attacking half, the attacking third, and just not necessarily being on the same page, but being really precise with that final ball. And again, it's the hardest thing to do in the sport is play that final ball and sometimes play 2-3 final balls in a row to set up a perfect attack, to set up the perfect timing for a goal. And there's a play tonight, perfect switch from Danny out to me, a one-touch ball into Connor. He plays it back to me through, and I try to hit a first-time ball into Yappy behind, and it goes to the goalie. And it's like there's 3 perfect passes in a row, and we're about 3 feet, maybe a couple yards off from scoring, and that's the game. It's a hard thing to do. It's a good team we're playing against, and I think those signs are encouraging for us, though. We're close, and we believe in what we're doing. We're doing the right things. We're gonna score goals.
Thanks for understanding what I was trying to do.
Yeah, sure.
Well, I was actually going to ask something similar because yesterday at practice, I've got 2 questions, sorry. Yesterday at practice, I noticed Robin talking to you about like that similar kind of breakout and roll kind of pass. Just when he is kind of telling you guys that, like, game day before match day 1 or whatever, how much do you take his defensive, I guess, adjustments to heart in those moments? And then on the other side of the ball, Diego got 60 minutes under his belt today, and just did you notice his presence when he off today?
Yeah, I'll go to the first question first. I've enjoyed playing under Robin so much. He's obviously a very experienced player. I've been fortunate to play for a few former players now, and I think that always gives their messaging a little bit more validity, a little bit more punch, because they've been there, they've done it, they've been in your shoes. And I think Robin's messaging he's so transparent, he's so clear with what he wants, he's so clear with how he wants it to be done. And so yes, I put a lot of value in what he says. I try to, to the best of and I think everybody does, to our ability to execute those tactics and those game plans. And a lot of the things, whether we do execute or not, we can look back on afterwards and be like, yeah, he was pretty spot on there. So really happy for Diego. He's such an important piece for us, and happy for him to be healthy. Looks like he's trending in the right direction, and honestly wish he could have played more tonight. I think his presence he gives us something different. He gives us an ability to eliminate that first player, turn against that line of pressure, and unlock things for us. And those are the most important players on the field. Those are the guys you kind of need to make the differences in the game. And from the first day that he came back after his injury in training, you could tell. It's just some guys have it, some guys don't.
Great. To have 10 corner kicks tonight, how encouraging is it to get on the end of a few of those and get some good chances, and then on the other side of that, how disappointing is it to not score on any of those tonight?
Yeah, it's been an impressive ability for us as a team and a staff, and the way they set us up to create really good goal-scoring chances from set pieces. Again, some of the stats that we talk about with expected goals, and we're near the top of the league, and even though we haven't scored yet from a set piece, it seems like we generate really, really good chances. And it felt like tonight, every time we got a set piece, it was like, I think that's the reason we set things up from sometimes in a really deep position. 10 yards inside in the attacking half, we set up a set piece because we feel like that's kind of where our best chances are coming from right now. And we talk about waiting for that dam to break, and I think we're close. Again, we believe in what we're doing. We know what we're doing is working. It's encouraging. Those are good signs, and unfortunate not to get one tonight, I felt.
Keegan, in the first half, LAFC really controlled possession when you talk about the first 20 minutes. But something changed there, and you guys got yourself back in the game. What did you feel like was key for you guys in those moments and really allowed you to gain more possession and keep the ball in really crucial times of the game?
I felt like it's difficult when a team has such good attacking players and such good wingers specifically. As wingbacks, we feel like it's always in the back of our mind where those wingers are, and our ability to step past them and get out to the fullbacks when they build and give them less time around the back. Like you said, for the first 20 minutes, it felt like they could kind of just play the ball around the back. They had all day to kind of pick passes out, and although we didn't feel too threatened by it, it's not really how we want the game to flow at home. And so I think when we made that switch, when Sam and I were really intentional about getting out to the fullbacks and trying to put them under pressure, even if we weren't the guys to get pressure on them, it felt like we were denying that option, and all of a sudden their options were so limited, and they forced things, and we were winning the ball back in better spots and a lot easier. And I think that was one of the biggest things we talked about at halftime. That in turn limits the amount of times and the amount of time that they string passes together and have the ball. And then I thought, we were pretty good out of the back. I thought we got out pretty cleanly a lot of times, and like I said, I think it's just kind of what we did from there that I thought could have been a little bit better. But it was, again, encouraging to see us make the right adjustments on the fly and build from that and feel like we kind of got a hold of the game a little bit.
Is that an adjustment? Did you see him go? Did you go? Do you guys feed off of each other in those moments? How were you able to implement that so quickly?
I think it's always something that we want to do in that formation. At times we set up a little bit differently in front of the back five, whether it's 3 midfielders, 2 attackers, how we press or how we deal with the back couple of players. But I think we're at our best as a whole in defending as a group when we do get out to them. And I think, like I said, when their most dangerous players are their wingers and the attacking players are very good. And we talked about maybe giving them a little bit too much respect. And you saw that in Austin, I think, too. It just asks so much more of our 8s or the guys that play under the 2 attacking players to get out to fullbacks and then come back and deal with central players and get out to fullbacks. And so it is something that we are pretty conscious of, but at times it's difficult. Sometimes you get pinned back. They have an overload on one side, and you can't really step out without leaving a guy. And it's obviously much better for them to get it in front of us than behind us. So, it's always kind of a cat and mouse game.
Keegan, so LAFC with 3 corners on the night, 2 of which are in the dying moments of the game. What's kind of being communicated defensively between you all, between Will, to make sure that in that very kind of hectic last-ditch moment that you can keep your composure and stay confident to keep a shutout in a really important game?
Yeah, I'll be honest. That was really disappointing to give up those 2 late set pieces, especially with the way I felt like the game flowed and the way that we kind of got a hold of the game kind of like after the first 20 minutes like we talked about. But, that's – I feel like at times how the season is going for us right now is like those are the moments that could change games. And all of a sudden they probably don't deserve to get a result here, but, one missed man on a corner, one, irresponsible / one mistake, and that's the game there in the 93rd, 94th, whatever it was. They have 2 corners. And but to your question, we pride ourselves on the attacking end, but also trying to be really, really tight-knit on the defensive end of set pieces and not give up opportunities. And it's kind of just it's especially for the guys that are man marking, it's, kind of taking on the mentality of just not letting your guy, get the better of you in that moment. It's a difficult job. I think back to the playoff game in 2021 against Portland where they score in the last minute on a corner kick, and that starts with like a deflected cross that goes 40 feet in the air, and then everything goes, for lack of a better term, goes to whatever, and they end up scoring off of it. And that's such a, random deflection and the way the ball falls and somebody gets time in the box. And, that's, I feel like a lot of times in big tournaments, big competitions, really tight games, it comes down to set pieces and it comes down to those opportunities that are from dead balls. And, proud of the group for being pretty strong there in the last couple of moments.
Awesome, man.
Yeah, and just to follow up, knowing it was Kellen on those corners, and considering he was a long-time teammate, knowing the quality of the service he can deliver, did that enter your mind at all? And what was it like going up against him again?
In terms of his delivery, no, not so much. He does deliver a great ball, both feet. I've got a lot of respect for Kellen. He's been doing it for so many years, for multiple teams now. Great dude, always enjoy competing with him, even when he was on the same team as us. And no, not necessarily. We still have to do our individual jobs, and that doesn't really affect it too much. But fun to compete against him again. He plays the game the right way, and also wants to compete in the right way. So, always fun to compete against past teammates.
All right, we'll pause our back with coach in a few minutes.
Thanks, Keegan.